Hi everyone, it's Shel from Scrap Secrets and welcome back to my channel. Today's day 20 in the 2025 Countdown to Christmas series with Marie from Marie's Vermont Creations. Our technique for today was a monochromatic card. So I'm going to be using this 3D embossing folder from Honeybee Stamps and some Distress Oxides. I originally cut a piece of cardstock down to 6 3/4 by 4 3/4, so for a 5x7 card, but then I actually had to cut it down to 4.5 by 6.5 because I couldn't find one of my plates for my embossing machine, and I ran it through. It embossed the very top of it, but then it got stuck, and when I pulled it out, I removed the paper. So had to trim it down a little bit and run the paper through again. The bottom does have a little bit of double embossing because I did have to run it through a third time, but I don't think you can really notice it, especially on camera. So I'm going to be inking up the background with a couple colors of Distress Oxide. I started off with Tumbled Glass, and then I moved into Broken China. I will also be using Salty Ocean, Prized Ribbon, and Chipped Sapphire. Those are all shades of blue in the Distress Oxide line. And the first color I put pretty much all over the card. And then the second one, which was Broken China, I went and did just not as far into the middle. And then each layer will be a little bit less and less towards the middle. So you'll start to see it more on the outside. I then will go back with the darkest colors and work my way back to the lightest colors to blend it all out. This is a technique that Kelly Taylor does a lot with her backgrounds, and I love the way hers looked, so I wanted to try it out and see how I did with it. In the end, I do a couple other things to the background, so it's not as noticeable, but I really did like the way this turned out. So while you're watching me do this, I thought that I would talk a little bit about the series. So Marie from Marie's Vermont Creations and I picked 25 different themes, techniques, stamp sets, color schemes, etc. And we put them in a randomizer for the 25 days and came up with the list. We will post videos Mondays and Fridays, usually around 2 o'clock. I have not been so great with that, but school is almost over. This weekend I have a 20+ page paper to write. So once that is done, I am done. I finished all my homework for my Thursday night class, and Monday is my last official class for the semester. So it's going to feel so good to be done because we have not really had a break since January. We've gone classes to classes, semester to semester, and without really a break. So it was a very, very long year. The first ever cohort at St. Joe's for the DBA program had told us that this was going to be the longest and hardest year, and none of us really seemed to believe them, but now I do. So it has been a long, long year. We're all looking forward to the break and for the holidays. So like I said, I'm not as great with posting the videos on time, but these last 5, I should be able to post them on time. I will leave a link to Marie's channel below in the more information section, as well as a link to the intro video for the series. Make sure you head over to Marie's channel. She is doing a giveaway, and she also has links to this year's playlist as well as the past 2 years' playlists. Okay, so back to the card. Now I'm going to take some sprays. So you saw 2 in the beginning, but I only end up using the 1. The other one I felt like was a little bit too green, so I went ahead and did the blue one, and then I went back in with, it's some kind of something fog, I think, and they both have mica spray in it, which is a shimmery powder, so I sprayed that on the background. While I was waiting for that to dry, I decided to take a couple of snowflakes and use some colors of Distress Oxide that I used for the background and ink them up, doing maybe 2 or 3 colors depending on what it looked like. So I tried the Tumbled Glass with this one, and it just was not working. It's such a light color, and it wasn't coming out on the wood. So I did give up and put a couple other colors on it. So again, while you're watching me do this, I'll go back to the a little info about the series. So make sure you check out Marie's channels. She and I have different crafting styles. So you will, at the end of the series, you will have 75 different ideas because we did not repeat any over the past 3 years, and 150 videos of ideas for inspiration. There are card ideas that are very complex that you probably would do one-offs, and then there are some quicker, easier ones that you could mass produce. So we've done a lot over the past 3 years. I don't know what we're going to do for next year. I don't know if we can come up with 25 different ideas, but we will definitely try. That way we have 100 different ideas. I think that might be maxing out, but I'm looking forward to that. I can't believe this series is almost over. It feels like we just started it. So I hope that you guys are enjoying it. Like I said, make sure you check out Marie's channel. She's also doing a giveaway. I can't remember if I said that already, but she is doing a giveaway. Make sure you go over, like her channel, subscribe, comment on her videos. She's going to pick one random video and winner from one random video that commented. So, okay, so back to the card. I am now using my brushes to kind of blend in the colors. I had used the ink pads just to swipe some color on there, and I liked the way the 3 of them came out. This one I felt like was just a little bit too similar to the one at the top, so I went back in and added a little bit more of the darker color. And then I'm going to get my spray box out again, and I'm going to very, very lightly spray those with the same blue and then the same gray. So while I'm waiting for that piece to dry, I cut out this sentiment from the Recollections paper pack. It does not go with the theme that I had, so because it's green. So I wanted to make it blue. Because the sentiment and snowflakes are embossed on here, I can go over it with the Distress Oxide, and then I can buff off any of the ink that gets on the embossing because it's an emboss resist. So this is a fantastic way to stretch your supplies and create something that, that didn't match with your original color scheme, but now it does. Okay, so I apologize for my camera. It died. Actually, there was no room left on my camera. I forgot to delete some stuff, some old videos that I had created, but just had never, and they were in my delete folder and just hadn't deleted them from my actual phone. So my phone did stop recording, but it was just me putting more ink down, which you guys all know how to do. So now this is a 5x7 card base, and I took a piece of blue foil cardstock that measures 5x7, glued it down. I probably should have used tape instead because I was having a hard time getting the glue out. I have some dexterity issues with my hands from the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and I put a little bit too much glue down, so you can kind of see it in here, and I don't love the way that you can see the dots of glue in the background. So I probably should have used tape, but then I used that same Bearly Arts glue to go ahead and glue down the background piece that we created now that it was dry, and I love the shine and shimmer that it has on it from the mica sprays. I'm also going to go ahead and glue those snowflakes down now that they are dried. The one thing that I did here was I forgot that I had not glued down that center sentiment piece. So I'm going to glue it down, glue all the snowflakes down, and then realize that that sentiment is not straight. And so I went to try to straighten it and realized I hadn't glued it down. So I will go back and use my Bearly Arts glue to put that into place. Just silly crafting mistakes. I do this kind of stuff all the time. I did this card on my lunch break today because I had an assignment and a quiz due last night for my last night of class, and I just didn't have time to do it otherwise. The last thing that I'm going to do is this calls for confetti embellishments, and I'm going to I think I put 7 of them down. These are all different shades of blue, which was fantastic for this card. And I'm just going to use that same Bearly Arts glue to put a little dot down and then attach the confetti or the sequins to the card front. So once I'm finished with that, that is the card for today. Monochromatic doesn't have to be boring. I do love the variation that I was able to get from those inks. So hopefully you guys try this technique out. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below, and I'll see you again real soon for another video. Bye!